All right, friends, welcome to it. This is my Atomos Shinobi II version 3.0 fuller review. See, I've dropped way too many videos on this monitor, on this channel over the last 6 months because every time I reviewed something or found something or made a bug or found a solution, I'd make a video about it. Atomos would release a software update to fix that. And then 2 months later, they'd release another software update. And about a month ago, they released version 3.0. And here we are again, making another video about version 3.0. Couple things right off the cuff that you need to know. Atomos didn't pay me for this review. Atomos hasn't paid me $1 ever. I bought this monitor with my own money. The only thing Atomos has ever sent me is a couple emails. Yeah, so this video is not sponsored by Atomos whatsoever. I'm completely independent. However, for the first time in the first year and a half, we have a channel sponsor, and that is audio. More on that later. We'll talk about it in a little bit. It's been pretty stinking cool. I like it. Anyways, so let's talk about version 3.0. Early December, I got an email from Atomos that said, "Hey Ross, good news. All of your complaints have been answered. We are dropping version 3.0 here pretty darn soon. And we sent you over a copy of it. Check it out. Let us know your thoughts." And I thought about just immediately jumping in and making a video on version 3.0, being the first YouTuber out there to do it. It didn't happen. December was a busy month. Lots of client work got involved. And I figured I'd give it a little bit, give it some time, take my time with the review. And I'm not going to show a lot of B-roll in this video. I'm not going to show a lot of kind of work video. I mean, like, here's what we've seen this monitor a million times. Everybody's seen the monitor. And essentially what you need to know is version 3.0 is fantastic for a specific use case of specific videographers with a specific camera and specific firmware and things like that. Basically, what you need to do, everybody just go ahead and open up a new tab right now in your YouTube browser. Go to atomos.com. Go to the Shinobi 2 site. And if you go to the Shinobi 2 site, it's beautiful. Great website, guys. Honestly, 10 out of 10. But you need to scroll down, because if you scroll down, you will find Touch to Focus 11.3.0 adds the ability to select the camera's focus point directly via the touchscreen interface of the Shinobi 2. Yes, cool, love it. However, you need to click on compatible cameras, because once you click on compatible cameras, you can scroll down to this list right here. And they've got it divided up very beautifully, very easily with Canon, Fuji, Nikon, Panasonic, Sony, and Zcam. Now, here's the thing. You can read this big paragraph right here, but really what you need to know is if your camera is in this list, congratulations, it is supported with camera control. So you can see that you're recording, you can see your ISO, your shutter speed, your aperture, all that fun stuff. If it has the little asterisk beside it, then and only then do you get full touch to focus controls for your camera. Now, I've been bragging on the Shinobi 2 for the last 6 months because I think the Shinobi 2 is the best monitor out there for a lot of reasons. However, those reasons are mainly because of how I shoot, what camera I'm on, and all that other little jazz. So let's run through it. Canon, your R1, your R5 Mark II, your R6 Mark II, your R7. Those are going to be your 4 Canon cameras that support touch to focus on the Shinobi 2. Same with Fujifilm. GFX 102, XS20 are your only cameras that support touch to focus, which it's not a big Fuji lineup. Anyways, Nikon Z8, Z9 are your only 2 cameras from Nikon that support touch to focus. Panasonic S5 II, S5 IIX are your only 2 Panasonic cameras that support touch to focus. Now, Sony A7 IV, A7S III, FX3, FX30, ZV-E10 Mark II. Congratulations. Me, myself, I shoot on the A7S III, the FX3, and the FX30 all of my career. So congratulations to people like me because we have won the Atomos selection for touch to focus. Congratulations. Z-Cam, you don't get touch and focus on Z-Cam. However, there are some supported cameras on there. Now, this goes into a monitor rant that I made about a year ago on why don't just camera companies make great monitors for their cameras? And you see a lot of that reasoning see a lot of that within Atomos here. Atomos is trying to make a one monitor fits all, and you've got all these different softwares and all these different cameras that is always trying to be compatible with, and they're running into a lot of issues with compatibility on specific cameras. That's why companies like Panasonic, you only get 2 cameras that touch to focus is supported. Companies like Canon, you're only getting 4 cameras that are supported. That stinks. And I feel bad for Atomos because I know they're working hard out there. They're trying their best, but there's so many different camera brands that making a one monitor fits all is very difficult to do. But as a consumer, as somebody who shoots video, whatever you do, what you need to look at yourself and say before purchasing this monitor is, number one, do I own a camera or do I use cameras that are on the supported list? Do I care about touch to focus? If not, you can drop down and use one of the supported cameras has the asterisk by it. Yes. Number 2, do I use a camera with HDMI out, and do I need an HDMI out of my monitor? That's a big one because the Shinobi 2, unlike the Ninja 5 and all those, Shinobi 2 does not have an HDMI out. So it comes down to a workflow side. So basically what I'm trying to say, and I've kind of stuck with this opinion for a while since August, since this monitor released, is the Atomos Shinobi 2 is the best monitor for what I do for the camera that I own and the specific use cases that I use a monitor. So you can't really say the Shinobi 2 is the best monitor in the world because, man, if you work on sets a lot where you need HDMI out, Shinobi 2 is not a great monitor. If you work on sets a lot or your camera runs full SDI out workflow, Shinobi 2 is a terrible monitor. If you run a Canon EOS R8 that doesn't have touch to focus and you really like to touch to focus on the monitor, the Shinobi 2 is probably not the best monitor. So there's so many circumstances on what makes this monitor incredible, and you have to basically fall into perfectly one of those gaps. Thankfully for me, the A7S III, I fall into that perfect gap. Now, another thing about this monitor that's just fantastic is this is Atomos's basically cheapest bottom of the line monitors, coming in at $349 plus tax. That's an incredible deal for such an incredible monitor. And you know what else is such an incredible deal? Companies like Audio. Now, they didn't give me any rules for this ad read, so I'm just going to go for it because, quite frankly, I don't work with sponsors a lot on this channel, so they get what they get, and here we go. So, basically, as a video producer person, I drop a lot of money every year on music licensing. Licensing music is the only way to legally do it. And honestly, companies like Audio are one of the cheapest ways you can do it. Some of our music licensing companies, because, well, we pretty much pay for all of them, some of them are close to $100 a month. Some of them are just, we drop $1,200 a year on music licensing. Audio right now, if you use my code ROSS70 at checkout, gives you 70% off of their $199 yearly plan, which brings your yearly total cheaper than 1 month that we pay for MusicBed. So check out Audio if you're looking for music licensing that is just incredibly inexpensive, works for YouTube, works for client work, works for corporate stuff. Just jump on there, check out Audio, use my code at checkout. It's been a fantastic program since I've been using it, and we used it for a lot of our corporate and client work, and just, yeah, it's inexpensive. I love cheap things because most of the time, the cheap things that separate the expensive things, there's not that much difference in quality. So check them out. Audio, ROSS70 at checkout. Gotta love them. Let's jump back into this video because talking more about the Shinobi 2, I got a lot of good things to say. Also, I don't know if you've seen this on this channel or not. I'm running basically a V-mount battery, and then that V-mount is run into a dummy battery into the Shinobi 2, and that Shinobi 2 is now powering my Sony a7S III. Something I didn't talk about earlier is power, and how are you going to power your camera? Because once you get the fact of like, okay, cool, I got a camera that works with camera control, I've got a camera that works with touch to focus, there's one extra final stepping stone in the workflow, and that is your camera able to be fully powered by 13-watt power delivery? Because if so, congratulations, ding, 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 the A7S checks that box. I can shoot all day long, and the Shinobi 2 can power my camera all day long. Battery stays at 100% just via that USB-C cable. But I know some cameras, especially like the R5 II and things like that, are stupid power hungry. And so, therefore, if you're running a V-mount setup like me, you have to run a separate dummy battery to the camera and then let your USB-C trickle charge your camera. It's just one more of those steps of, is the Shinobi 2 perfect for you? So let's run down the Shinobi 2 perfect for you. Number one, you're on the camera compatibility list for camera control. Check, check, cool. Number two, your camera has a little asterisk that gives you touch to focus control. Cool, check, awesome, yay. Number three, you run a setup that doesn't use SDI and you do not need HDMI out, okay? Whew, check three, we made it on that box. Check number four, is your camera able to be powered with 13 watts or less power delivery coming out of the Shinobi 2? Four is more of a, if you can't, then you just can't run a super clean setup like I do where it goes from battery to monitor to camera. You just have to run a separate dummy battery for your camera or just change camera batteries often. Not a big deal, but it is one of those things that just adds the reasons the Shinobi 2 is the best for me in my specific use cases, for my specific camera, and how I run my monitors. So there's a lot to unpack here. I understand, but essentially what you need to know and what the theme of this entire video needs to be is the fact that I'm rocking with the Shinobi 2. I love it. If you'd like to buy one, there's a link in the description. Every time somebody buys from that link, I think I make like $10.50. So it's pretty cool. I do enjoy that. However, check your compatibilities and check what you got going on. If you got any other things that you have to say about the Shinobi 2 in the comments, let me know below. What I would love to see from the future from Atomos is, number one, these bezels are thick as a biscuit. They need to probably thin them things up a little bit. There's no reason the bezels should be this big on this monitor. Maybe a Shinobi 3 iteration can have smaller bezels, potentially. I would love to see this style software implemented in all of the Atomos all the way up from the Ninja V on upwards, because they started at the cheapest monitor. Let's reiterate that for their more expensive monitors, because I would love to have something like this when I'm needing an HDMI out or an SDI out and I need a bigger monitor for bigger commercial sets and things like that. So there's a lot of hope for the future of Atomos. There's a lot of hope for the future of integrating multitude of different cameras involved in this and just getting everything on a easier to use space. So I'm super pumped for the monitor. It's my go-to monitor for shooting weddings and handheld work, and I am excited for the future to see where it goes and develops. If you've got another monitor out there that you think kicks this one's butt, then send it to me. I would love to see, test it out, and see if we can get going with it. So I'll see you guys in the comments. Drop a comment, and I'll catch you guys on the next video. Bye-bye.